every time I see a pregnant woman, there is tears in my eyes. Just like her, I put my son in my tummy, in my womb, and I brought him to this earth. And it does bring tears when I see any woman pregnant. I remember my time when I gave birth to Suchir and raised him with love. Seeing him lying like that in the blood is
I
so.
cannot imagine. I
Yeah.
cannot imagine. Let me just ask you straight up. So, do you believe that OpenAI killed your son? Welcome to For Humanity, an AI Risk podcast, episode number 63, Justice for Suchir. I'm John Sherman, your host. Thank you so much for joining me. For Humanity is the AI Risk podcast for the general public. No tech background required. This show is solely about the threat of human extinction from artificial intelligence. Today, we will meet Pornima Rao and Balaji Ramamurthy, the parents of OpenAI whistleblower Suchir Balaji, a hero in the struggle to save humanity from AI doom. Suchir was found dead at age 26, killed by a gunshot in his San Francisco apartment about 6 months ago. Suchir's death was immediately ruled suicide by the San Francisco Police Department, but there is an overwhelming amount of evidence that points to something very, very different. New toxicology reports only deepen the disconnect between what the police say happened and what appears to have really happened here. We'll get into that in depth shortly. But first, a few other really interesting things and important things in the world of AI risk to discuss. So first up, you may be wondering what's going on with the request I made 2 weeks ago for a $10 million grant for funding from the Future of Life Institute. Well, the bad news is we've lost 2 weeks that we'll never get back, 2 more wasted weeks where the public's slumber about AI risk continues. I have not heard back from them. My strategy from them is to give them a moment to respond. It was a strong request, so I'll wait a little bit. The ball is in their court. More on that in the next show. So next up, I got into a conversation with the great Eliezer Yudkowsky on Twitter, and I really want your thoughts. Let's talk about this in the comments. It's really important that we figure this out. The specific words we use when we talk about to people about AI risk are critically important and must constantly be re-examined. So here's what happened. Control AI posted this video where Elon Musk tells Senator Ted Cruz there's a 20% chance of a catastrophic outcome from frontier AI development.
The apocalyptic visions of AI. How real is the prospect of killer robots annihilating humanity?
20% likely. Maybe
Wow.
10%.
On what time frame?
5 to 10 years.
So soon, that like you see a world where that's possible.
Yeah. But I mean, you can look at it like the glass is 80 to 90% full.
So I reposted it and put in all caps, why is this not the only thing that anyone ever talks about? They openly admit their tech may very well just kill us all. This is something I scream about on this show often. It's an idea I've been repeating here for more than a year. To me, it is shocking and a great intro to new people to this cause to tell them that the CEOs openly admit their technology has the near-term potential to end all life on Earth. But the original AI risk guy, the AI safety guy, our movement's founding father, Eliezer Yudkowsky, does not agree with me on this. He wrote, "They admit it is a losing argument. People validly do not trust the words of big tech kings to mean anything. Better to cite Nobel laureate Jeffrey Hinton, who quit Google, saying the same." Okay, I wrote back. I appreciate the feedback very much and think a lot about this. For me, the CEOs admit it is very compelling. My journalist brain finds it very powerful. Hinton is also a great element of the argument, but do we have to choose? Aren't both valid and useful? What is the evidence they admit it is a losing argument? Again, I'm open to being wrong, and King Eliezer is super appreciative of the feedback. So then some other people chimed in, and there was a really great in-depth exploration of this question. So I wrote to the group, "This is a great question. Thanks for it all. I'd really like to get this right. The great Eliezer Yudkowsky asks that I go cold turkey on the tech CEOs admitting that they could get us all killed. Maybe it's a sandwich. How's this? Everyone from the whistleblowers like Nobel laureate Jeffrey Hinton to the tech CEOs themselves all agree AI has the near-term potential to cause human extinction. Someone on Twitter then took it further, asking ChatGPT to write 2 papers, one supporting each case. Super interesting. So I read them both, and my response continued. I then asked ChatGPT, do you think saying the AI CEOs admit their tech could end all life on Earth is more compelling argument than saying Jeffrey Hinton says AI could end all life on Earth when you're making the case to someone out in the general public? The response from ChatGPT, which makes a ton of sense to me, goes a little something like this. If we're targeting the general public, the argument the AI CEOs admit their tech could end all life on Earth is probably more immediately compelling than the Jeffrey Hinton says it angle. And here's why. And it gets pretty much in-depth in it. Why the CEO framing hits harder with the public. Number 1, Fox guarding the henhouse dynamic. When the people building and profiting from AI say this could end humanity, it triggers a shock factor. It's like the tobacco executives admitting cigarettes cause cancer. It cuts through skepticism because you don't expect the people selling it to admit the worst-case scenario. Number 2, corporate credibility paradox. The public often assumes CEOs will downplay risks to protect business interests. So when they admit the catastrophic stakes, it's perceived as a reluctant confession, making it more potent. It suggests the risk must be so undeniable that even the profit-driven insiders can't spin it away. Number 3, scale of influence. The average person might not know who Jeffrey Hinton is, but they probably know OpenAI, Google DeepMind, or Anthropic. CEOs like Altman or Hassabis implicitly represent entire companies and industries. That amplifies the perceived weight of their warning. It's not just one person, it's the people steering the ship. That's what I'm saying. Number 4, media and conversational framing. In casual conversations or media saying the creator of ChatGPT thinks AI could destroy humanity gets instant attention. It connects to what people are already familiar with, ChatGPT, AI hype, and makes the risk feel less abstract. So I gotta say, ChatGPT 4.0 there laid it out spot on, in my opinion. So I posted all of that. And then the great Eliezer Yudkowsky came back one more time to give me a solid body slam. He wrote, in a sane world, it might work like that. In this world, somehow, perhaps because OpenAI paid some truly excellent PR firms a staggering sum of money, IDK, the common wisdom among journalists became AI companies exaggerate the risks to increase hype and get attention. That is a concept I reject entirely on the face. I do not believe saying that a product is going to kill everyone has ever increased sales, ever, of any product, ever in human history. I reject that, but then Eliezer comes in for the death blow. Last tweet here, he fillets me. Your desire for the arguments to work is not the same as that argument working. The people you are talking to do not share your sense that you really want this argument to work. They do not feel that desperate sense of, but this gotcha has got to be worth something. Ouch. I don't know that I agree with him. He has all of my respect in the world, but I don't know that I agree with him. So what do you think? Let us have a fulsome debate in the comments this week. Is Eliezer right, saying that the CEOs admit their work could kill us all, should take a back seat to the argument that Jeffrey Hinton says that AGI could kill us all? I'm not convinced. What do you think? Let's blow it up in the comments and talk about this really important question. Okay. Second to last thing before we get to the interview with Suchir's parents, another OpenAI whistleblower, Daniel Kokotayo, and Scott Alexander have put out a very important paper and website. It is called AI 2027, link in the notes, show notes. It is a very powerful, very promising attempt to give a narrative, month-by-month look at how AI could conceivably take over by 2027. Even just saying the idea of it out loud is powerful. Listen to it. AI could take control by 2027. These are top AI researchers, including an OpenAI whistleblower who has a proven track record for accurately predicting AI progress, putting together a narrative, not just numbers, a real narrative around a story, maybe the last story, and how it actually might unfold. Here's a clip of Daniel Kokatayo from Dwarkesh Patel's podcast.
So you have basically two different scenarios after some point. So yeah, what is the sort of crucial turning point, and what happens in these two scenarios?
Right. So the crucial turning point is mid-2027, when they've basically fully automated the AI R&D process, and they've got this like corporation within a corporation, the army of geniuses that are like autonomously doing all this research, and they're continually being trained to improve their skills, blah, 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 blah. And they discover concerning evidence that they are misaligned and that they're not actually perfectly loyal to the company and have all the goals that the company wanted them to have, but instead have like various misaligned goals that they must have developed in the course of training. This evidence, however, is very like speculative and inconclusive. It's stuff like lie detectors going off a bunch, but maybe the lie detectors are false positives, So they have like some combination of evidence that's like concerning, but not like by itself a smoking gun. And then that's our branch point. So in one of these scenarios, they take that evidence very seriously. They basically roll back to an earlier version of the model that was a bit dumber and easier to control, and they build up again from there, but with basically faithful chain of thought techniques so that they can like watch and see the misalignments. And then in the other branch of the scenario, they don't do that. They do some sort of like shallow patch that makes the warning signs go away, and then they proceed. And so that way, what ends up happening is that in one branch, they do end up like solving alignment and getting AIs that are actually loyal to them. It just takes a couple months longer. And then in the other branch, they sort of go wee and end up with AIs that seem to be perfectly aligned to them, but are super intelligent and misaligned and just pretending.
More on AI 2027 coming in the coming weeks. It is a very important contribution to our movement. Okay, one more thing before our interview. If you subscribe to For Humanity, there is another YouTube channel that I need you to be sure you are subscribing to. I have developed an awesome friendship over the last several months with the genius behind Lethal Intelligence, Michael Zafiris. Michael is a dad like me with 2 kids who just wants AGI to not kill them. Doesn't seem like it's asking too much. He lives in Greece, doesn't come from tech, and is an incredibly talented storyteller. On the Lethal Intelligence channel, you will find Michael's first full-length animated movie about AI risk, and there are several short clips on the channel as well. For the next several weeks, we're going to be looking at one short clip from Lethal Intelligence's movie and talk about it, talk about the concept behind it. So first up, let's look at what we can learn about how a superior intelligence might treat us if we start looking at how we treat creatures in our world with intelligences inferior to ours. Here's a clip.
Life has come to the brink of complete annihilation multiple times in the history of this planet due to various catastrophic events. And the latest such major extinction event is unfolding right now in slow motion. Scientists call it the Anthropocene. The introduction of the human general intelligence is systematically and irreversibly causing the destruction of all life in nature, forever deleting millions of beautiful beings from the surface of this earth. If you just look at what the human general intelligence has done to less intelligent species, it's easy to realize how insignificant and incompatible the existence of most animals has been to us, besides the ones we kept for their body parts. Think of the rhino that suddenly gets hit by a metal object between its eyes, dying in a way it cannot even comprehend, as guns and bullets are not part of its world. Could it possibly imagine the weird instrumental goal some humans had in mind for how they will use its horn? Or think of all the animals that stop existing in the places where the humans have turned into towns with roads and tall buildings. Could they ever have guessed what the human instrumental goals were when building a bridge, a dam, or any of the giant structures of our modern civilization? How weird and sci-fi would our reality look to them?
It is honestly dark and scary as fuck to think about it. Like, we factory farm inferior intelligences, and we are if we are role models for the coming AGI models, what are they to make of how we treat inferior intelligences and animals? What lesson will they learn from us? It's really very dark. We talk about alignment, but we can't even agree how humans would align. But who says that AGI would even be most interested in our species' opinion of ethics? What if AGI weighs the other species' views of ethics as much as it views ours? What if when AGI can talk to the animals in their languages, the animals tell AGI we are unethical scumbags? What if AGI looks at the situation objectively and agrees with the chickens that we're incredibly unethical? We lie, cheat, steal, kill, rape, abuse, torment, kidnap, torture. I don't think the chickens do that. I'm sure as hell know my sweet dogs don't do that. What makes any human think our values are highly rated on any objective scale? It's entirely conceivable that AI could objectively decide our ethics and values are terrible. We talk a good game and act like total monsters casually as we lick our fingers with that factory farm food. Something, admittedly, I am surely guilty of myself. So last thought here. If you are potentially woefully not ready for Judgment Day, as the human species may not be, why would you ever summon it early by choice? Be sure to check out the full-length movie on the Lethal Intelligence YouTube channel. Okay, on to our interview. So you'll find another different tone in our show this week. As a TV reporter for 12 years, I interviewed literally hundreds of family members who lost loved ones, friends, relatives in some of the worst, most horrible circumstances that you could imagine. When I was a news reporter, quite often my day was to spend the day with someone else who was having the worst day of their life. That's the job. Covered dozens of murder trials, hundreds of murders, all sorts of awful crimes. And then when I got to be a parent, all of that felt very different. And that's part of the reason why I got out of news. Losing a child must be unthinkably painful. But for Suchir's parents, the torment and loss is even greater because the police and medical examiner have ruled their amazing son's death a suicide, despite a mountain of evidence that points to something very different and very dark. Suchir Balaji is a hero. For him, AI risk is by no means a hypothetical. He risked his life to try to stop the AI labs from making machines that can kill us all. He lost his life because he told the truth about the Achilles heel of AI, the stolen data that is birthing the beast. Now, his parents are on a mission to get justice for Suchir.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing much better now.
Okay. It's very, very nice to meet you. I'm really appreciative of you coming on here.
Nice meeting you as well, and thank you for hosting us. We want our son's story to get more awareness so he gets justice.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, sir.
Hello.
Nice to meet you as well. Hi. So yeah, that's good. That's really nice. Thank you. So I thought we could just start off talking about your son a little bit. I'm a father of two children. I have twins. They're a boy and a girl. They're 19 years old. And I'm just so sorry for what happened to you all and to your son. And I just wanted to express parent to parent, first of all, just, my sympathy for you and that you have, my sympathy as a parent. I cannot imagine being in the position you're in.
Suchir was a gifted child, or you can say even prodigy. He picked up his alphabets at 13 months.
Wow.
And when I used to go and pick him up from the, crib or the swing, he would call me mom. 3 months old.
Wow. 3 months old.
3 months.
Wow.
I have lot of sweet memories with him. 1.5 year old, he used to give us directions. Nambu nambu trun means like once a noble turn.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
he was
And
self-directed.
self-directed and just incredibly smart and gifted his whole life, huh?
Yes, very calm as well and very insightful. 1.5 year old, he used to ask me to light the lamp to feel better.
Wow.
And
Wow.
very calm, and very easygoing. I don't know how I raised him. It was a breeze, except his picky eating habit. He was a picky eater. Sometimes I had to cook 2 times or 3 times to make him happy.
Sure. I know that. I had one picky eater and one eat everything kid, so I certainly
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
what that's like. So tell me about from the start of when he starts to work at OpenAI. How did he take the job? What were his thoughts around it when he first started working there, and his thoughts around the work he was doing?
He was actually very talented, highly accomplished to be hired at OpenAI at that time. He was national champion in 2016. And 2016, he took up a year job at Quora. He knew Quora CEO, whom he met in the base camp or the camp for the Computing Olympiad. And then he joined UC Berkeley. He represented UC Berkeley with his team for World Championship. And then, like another accomplishment is he got $100,000 award by TSA for the passenger screening algorithm, which has been adopted today by TSA.
Wow.
They're slowly rolling it out. With all these accomplishments, it wasn't hard for him. And he already knew that TSA competition was in machine learning. Means that's the algorithm training and all that. That's the predecessor for AI. And Suchir picked it up by himself. Nobody taught him. He was self-taught. And he wrote a competition without anyone teaching, won the competition in machine learning. I used to see a lot of data running on his computer. After winning TSC, he shyly told me, "Mom, I was downloading the training data from different universities and processing it, practicing machine learning."
Wow. And so he's working at OpenAI. He's, how did he feel about the work he was doing there? When he started off.
When he started off, he was very happy because it aligned with his passion. His passion was like, research and open source and, contribute to community. But when OpenAI became turned for profit, they started turning it to profit. Initially, when I go home, I remember like he used to be very proud of the revenues they're bringing, being part of ChatGPT core team, O1 team. And then he was also he was involved in the training the data for ChatGPT. He also did a fine tuning of ChatGPT, which made it more efficient and faster. Because of the incredible ideas he had, he was working directly with the chief scientist under the chief scientist guidance. And in his journal, he writes he would work for him again when he started the startup. So
wow, yeah. So he continued his success, his just floating above his peers, just incredibly successful, incredibly smart young man.
Yeah, he achieved a lot by 26 to leave his name around.
Yeah. So when did it start to change? When did he express to you his reservations, the concerns that led to the whistleblowing?
Actually, we suspect in 2024 January, that's when he started to think of leaving OpenAI. And he told his boss, John Sherman, that he wants to do PhD. He actually, sending him for undergrad itself was difficult for me. Because he said, I don't need training. I train myself. I don't need a degree. And then from that point, if I only get in Ivy League, I'll go. With all those conditions, he graduating from undergrad in UC Berkeley itself was difficult. And then I'm surprised that I never believed it unless I saw in his journal that he wanted to go for PhD. He shared with his boss at the same time he bought the gun. So what we know is November 21st, 2023, Sam Altman was reinstated. Very soon after that, Suchir wanted to leave OpenAI. He was one of the people who signed for Sam's reinstatement of the 700 employees. And
Yeah.
he said, like, if he doesn't come back, we don't have our jobs, mom. And 21st was his birthday. And at 7 o'clock, he called and said, yeah, he's reinstated. Happy birthday to me. And at 11 o'clock, he went to OpenAI to celebrate. So he was very much involved with OpenAI.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
Yeah, and then he started to think about the copyright violation seriously. We believe that he sent out few emails or responded to few emails while at OpenAI, but he knew
Mhm.
my management will not take it positively, so he never said anything while he was there. And in July, he's met his friend Brian, who was his colleague in UC Berkeley, and tell him he's starting a startup. Would you be interested in joining? And Brian said, okay, let's see what you have. So he had concrete plans. And
Wow.
what we find is in July, before he left OpenAI, he contacted New York Times. He wanted to speak to New York Times about whistleblower activity. And
Yeah.
he left around the same time. August 4th, he left OpenAI.
Sure. And obviously the whistleblowing appears to have, had very, very disastrous results in the end. But what was your thought at the start of your son being willing to do this and this incredibly important work? My show that I do here is all about AI existential risk and really just trying to not make models that are smarter than us, that we can't control, that we don't know how they work, that can kill our kids, right? Like that seems like a really bad idea. So what was your feeling as parents when you saw your son stand up and say, I'm gonna raise my hand and do something that is courageous and risky?
First, when I saw the New York Times interview, I knew something is going to happen. By instinct, I can say. There was no warning sign, but moment I saw the picture, it was death trap.
Just a mother's instinct.
Instinct. And I tried to tell him each time, look, Suchir, you should not take on your young shoulders. You know what? We should go with a group of people or bring some kind of, regulations in the industry through the White House or lobbying or something. But he kept saying, oh, nothing wrong, I'm okay. But in his journal, he wrote, I'm a credible threat because of New York Times interview. And regarding this, he wrote in his research paper also, he thought AI was doing good for humanity, but now he doesn't believe so. And he writes that, against AGI and all that, and they'll take away all our jobs. And what do we do? It's a harm to humanity. Not only that, he writes about ChatGPT in his research paper. They modify the input data. First thing, Google publishes everything with copyright. They don't take off the copyright. But OpenAI, what it does is, it removes the copyright stuff. And if you read Suchir's article, I can share with you later, it tells very clearly that the input and the output are not same. He demonstrates this in such a simple way, saying, a colored cat comes as a black and white cat out. And he says this is because of 0.5 modulation. If you go for 1.0 modulation, then you get the cat as is. That means he had concerns that society is not getting the right answer. They will be misguided.
Yeah.
Very valid.
Was he? Did he? Did he go back and forth about going on the New York Times and doing the interview and doing the article, or was he full speed ahead? Like I must do this.
Yeah, it was like, I must do this. He writes in his journal, somehow I have to stop this. He expressed his concern in his journal that we have access to now. But as a mother, I know that he's always been like that. And his dad tells he was more like a warrior. And when he goes for a war, any outcome can come out, right? And like as a child, he stood for what he believed. I still remember 4.5-year-old, he didn't want to go to Kumon. And I thought it's good for him, common math. He resisted. He didn't move at all. The second class, he knew the first class. Second class, he didn't move at all into the door. He stood there firmly for 3 hours. So,
Yeah, basically he was trying to get a protection using media as outlet to express his concerns and get momentum with the mass. So he was trying to get the interviews from different sources. He went to Canadian press and he went to Associate Press. So he was having a serial of interviews lined up for him. Even after death, Associate Press, they called. They didn't know he passed away. They called in his phone. I answered, why you are calling? He said, we have an interview today and I'm trying to. I said, he's no more. They were shocked. So he was building a force to support his views.
yeah.
And they know these things are building up. So they don't want to proceed with that. So they silenced him.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also he writes that it's very, very vital, the copyright lawsuit, what's the importance of that to OpenAI. And he also writes in his journal that it's very confusing topic, and to give clarity to make people understand so they can stand up. He wanted to be a voice for artists because they're losing their data, right? They're losing
Yes.
their revenues. And yeah, that's what he tried to do. And then he said that it's very expensive for OpenAI. But in a nutshell,
Yes.
you know what? He was against the entire AI industry, I would say, because AI industry, every company is stealing the copyright data.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all the same original sin.
Yeah.
So when he was at OpenAI thinking about whistleblowing and you ask him, it'd be good to go with a bunch of people to get other people to go with you. There's strength in numbers. What did he say? And did he express that he was hearing similar concerns from his coworkers, or were they just, going about their jobs, taking the money, don't want to talk about it?
Last time when I met Suchir, he said many people are leaving because of their own concerns. And now we see that there are few people who have whistleblown March of that year. Because of that, all these people are protected. Whatever telling is, OpenAI was illegally telling that if they tell anything against the company, they lose their options, stock options. So they were forcing
Yeah.
people not to tell. Somebody protested. And then
Yeah.
Sam Altman and operations head or someone said, we didn't even know it. I'm so sorry. We found it. We'll fix it. But it has Sam Altman's signature in it. So if they
Wow.
say they don't have any role in our son's death, we look at the pattern of lies and we see to what extent it's credible.
So let's focus in on maybe the day or two leading up to Suchir's death. What was going on? Walk me through that time and just walk me through it.
Actually, I want to give one more context there. This on November
Please.
2016 to 22nd, he was out backpacking with his friends, 4 of them. He was fit. He was happy. The previous day, 21st November, was his birthday. He celebrated his birthday. And then 22nd, we see on CCTV footage, I can share the video with you. He coming back with a huge backpack. And then at 7:02, he leaves to pick up his dinner and he comes back home. He spoke to dad after picking up the dinner. It was around 7:12 or something. And then he said casual conversation. And he said, I have to have my dinner. And that's the normal thing. Next day I called him, 12:15. He didn't pick up. What happened is it rang once, went into voicemail. That made me believe he's come back and he's very busy. Usually, when mom calls, he always replies back or texts back. I didn't get that. I thought he has a motorcycle and all, right? So he's going on a motorcycle ride or something like that. On the Sunday, I called him multiple times. I sent him 3 emails, multiple texts. By evening, I started to feel very upright. Next morning, first thing I wanted to do was he may be sick or something. So I went to his apartment, knocked on the door. No one opened the door. Then both of us called the hospitals and all those places to see what happened to him if he's not home, right?
Yeah.
We didn't find anywhere, then we were relieved that he's not in any hospital, his life is not in danger. Then we called the police to go and check on him. This was at 3 p.m. on 25th Monday. They went in there at 4:30 p.m. We see on the CCTV footage, they went with two fire engine and all of those people. They knocked on the door. No one opened the door. They came back. But the contrary here is, they themselves say that in their police report that the leasing office had found a bad smell and they called out for help. So if these police and all went there, did they not see the smell? How do they, if they don't open, what is their responsibility here if somebody could be in danger inside, right? So,
Yeah.
and they said, ma'am, we can't open the door. When you come, we'll open the door. Because they already knew he was dead. They wanted someone to acknowledge. That's the reason they said, until you come, we cannot open the door, because they already knew he was no more and they wanted us to sign the papers for his death release. So
Wow. You think because of the smell and things that they were just outside the door and
it was 3 days.
they could tell they're
already.
professionals? Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what? It's my husband, I kept thinking it's not normal for anyone to say like we can't open the door, right? Because they
Yeah.
can. Fire engine can open the door. It's not that they
Yeah.
cannot. They
Yeah.
didn't do
Bang it down. Yeah.
right? They didn't do that. Why? And they said, if you come, we will open the door.
Okay.
It was
So
already
what happened next?
clock when
Yeah.
when that happened. And then I thought, okay, maybe leasing office need to be there to give the keys. Next morning, first thing I did at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock is where we live is Union City. I filed a missing person complaint. And the officer who took the complaint said you should hear immediately back from the dispatch from SFPD. Waited 1 hour, it was 11 by then. Waited 1 hour, no sign. Then I called the dispatch. They said, ma'am, you come there. We will open the door. He was not well, so I took the responsibility. My car tire was, showing low in air. He said, take Uber. In case you get into traffic, something happens, you won't be able to reach Suchir. I went
Okay.
there at 1:03 or something. I called the dispatch. They came at 1:09. It was 2 officers and 2 fire department people, firefighters. They went inside and they came back and they said, we couldn't enter. They had the key. Leasing office manager went inside. They said we couldn't enter. We're waiting. Security protocol is there. It didn't strike to me even then. I thought security protocol to open the door. And 2 more officers came. They went inside and came back. And I'm asking them what happened. They're not telling me anything. One of the officers, he's very suspicious. He told me, ma'am, go home. In 5-6 hours, we'll inform you. I said, I'm not going anywhere. The same officer we see on the CCTV footage goes inside without wearing gloves or anything. He contaminates the entire scene. He touches the gun box. He touches everywhere. So he's the one who asked me to leave. We have questions, a lot of questions. I wouldn't come to any conclusion. We have a lot of
Yeah.
questions. Why would that be? And then 3:20, I saw this white van coming. And I was concerned why the white van is coming. Ambulance should have come. And then there's a stretcher came out. It didn't look like the ambulance stretcher. Then I ran and asked them, what is this? Why are you here? That's when I learned he was no more. They said, we come to pick up a dead body. I called my husband. He was not ready to believe. Nothing will happen. Oh, no, it's not true. I called my best friend. Look, this has happened. Can you please support me? I need your support. Come. I called 2 of them. One of them said, I'm on vacation today. I can come for you. At 4 o'clock, they finished complete investigation. Within 20 minutes, we can see on the CCTV, they concluded suicide. On the contrary, what we hear in the on the body cam of the cops is first two officers when they came out, they were talking among themselves, this is a homicide scene, how to handle. And this officer who touched everything in the bare hand, he turned it into suicide in 20 minutes. Right?
Wow. Was he the same? Do you know who this is? You've identified this person, was he the same rank as everyone, or just in one of the officers? Just
Yeah, we need to investigate that. Our attorney will do that. We're waiting for the company. No, first time two people went, right? We haven't received their body cam. And then 4 o'clock, they said, come inside. By then, I knew what they're going to tell me. I just wanted to know what happened to him. They come and tell me he shot himself. He had a gun, he shot himself. But the crime scene was so suspicious. How did they come to that conclusion? Only question they asked me is, was he suicidal? Did he attempt any suicide before? Was he depressed? And I said no to all of them. But what they write in the autopsy report is, mom said son was depressed because of he was unemployed. It's a very personal data. How did they know he was unemployed? I didn't tell them. Right? And I told them he's a whistleblower right at the moment. Within minutes, I told them he's a whistleblower. He had an interview. They didn't want to listen to it. They just pushed it aside. He handed over the keys to me, made me sign the list of evidence they're collecting. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll give you the body. So the difference here is they have not followed the protocol. And without even a doctor looking at it, without doing autopsy, the medical examiner investigator concluded suicide. Next day, they released the death certificate as self-inflicted gunshot wound. By then, they hadn't looked at the CT scan. They did not do body, they did not know autopsy at all. They haven't even included the wounds on the body in the report. They didn't care. I called it all day.
Yeah, I was just want to pause you for one moment and just ask, how are you all feeling at this moment? I just can't, back in that time, I cannot imagine this day playing out. I just can't imagine it.
Yeah, at that moment, what I only told was, last time when I met Suchir, we went for a walk. I asked him, will you choose me as mom again? Within seconds, fraction of a second, yes, mom, answer came. So when I heard the death, that was a thought in my mind that came, he will choose me as mom again. I'll see him again. So that was a positive thought that had. Even in that death situation, I was not breaking down. I was calm and composed. My friend came and then we started talking about what would be the next steps. I came home. My friend dropped me here and she left. My husband was here. We called his family. And his family story is even more different. They hadn't seen Suchir since 2010. That morning, Sunday morning, 24th, they called and said, bring Suchir home this time for Christmas. And next day, we told them, 2 days later, we told them he's no more, and they were shocked. Why did we, all of a sudden, why did we get the intuition to call him and what happened? One mistake we did was in Hindu rituals and traditions, they say like the body should be burnt, otherwise the soul is confused and it won't ascend. So we planned for his cremation, but my husband had the instinct. He said, if we cremate him, we'll lose the evidence. That's when I checked in Just Answers, and I checked online as Just Answers where legal questions are there. They said, if you suspect it, you should do a private autopsy and talk to an attorney. Before that, next day after he died, I called the homicide unit, I called the police, I called the medical examiner. I just demanded the medical examiner investigator, did you take the pictures at the crime scene? Do we know what happened? Are you investigating? He said, police will investigate. I called the police, they said, medical examiner will investigate. Then I learned it's the homicide unit that does the investigation, and I called the homicide unit. They said, unless the medical examiner says there's a foul play, we will not investigate. But as a mother, I can tell you, if you believe so, please go and get his devices. At that time, leasing office had told us, You cannot enter unless we clean. We have a protocol. And later, I checked with him. Did police tell you to clean everything and give it to us? He didn't have an answer. I called him when the homicide officer said this. That was on 28th. I called the leasing office. They were supposed to do the clean up and they didn't find anyone till Thanksgiving. I said, "You're not going to clean. We are occupying the unit. We will pay the rent." We went and picked up his devices. When we went to pick up his devices, we found a copyright attorney's information there. A visiting card was there. We called him. That was on 29th November. And he said, "Yes, I met your son. He came to see me." Suchir told what OpenAI did to him.
Wow.
Now he's not talking to anyone. We don't know what he knows.
That attorney.
Yes, he's a copyright attorney. But he did one good thing though. We requested him. He sounded very good. He sounded very compassionate, reasonable. "Can you please help us with a wrongful death attorney?" And then he suggested one attorney. He's pretty good. He did very good job, in fact, of taking it in front of chief of police, chief medical examiner, and all that. That's why the homicide investigation was done. A namesake homicide investigation, in my opinion, that was done. Yeah. I was
Okay,
never
so
cutting.
let me ask you this. What do you think happened? Like, you have put a ton of time and effort into thinking about this and trying to unravel it. In your best guess, what do you think happened?
Yeah, I feel
No, I
this
would
one
not
is
tell
a staged.
conspiracy theory. No, I
Yeah,
don't
it
want
is.
to tell
I feel it
conspiracy
is
theory.
a staged one, a manufactured suicide. So they know they watched him for a long time, and they staged it when he was in vacation. They had plenty of time to get in his apartment and do the required things, etc. In the weekend, they know if they do that, nobody will find his body, and the evidence can be erased. So they plan in a way to execute to make it suicide.
One more observation. What we found was the CCTV inside one specific elevator that was removed. Wires were cut off. That was on November 14th. And we see at 7 o'clock, Suchir going to get his food. And when he comes to the elevator, that's the elevator through which he came up. And he says, my husband says, some people are not watching and saying, he just stays inside one time. He turns left and stays inside one time. That makes us think a lot of things, and we're seeking answers. We're seeking answers. Police said there was only one entrance to the building. No, there are three entrances to the building. CCTV is only on two entrances. It doesn't take a detective to say they can enter through the third entrance, right?
Sure.
And
And
police said this. Nobody has entered the building. Nobody, like it hasn't been opened. It hasn't been, all the windows were closed. So he shot himself. Do we need to teach police that they can make duplicate keys? Isn't it their job?
yeah. And so where it's so crazy is the police immediately calling it suicide, not seeming to have genuine interest in a homicide investigation. And you'll hear about stuff where in a small town, the police department's bought off, and then the mayor, had a case where the mayor had a domestic violence thing with his wife, and the police made it go away, and they, like you hear things about
Really?
police being under control of powers, but it's in small towns. To think that the San Francisco Police Department has a line to OpenAI,
Yes.
where something like this could happen it does not seem impossible in any way. It's just quite shocking to think of that level of coordination. What are your thoughts on like that actual mechanism that appears to have happened?
Yeah, this was came to news after a month, and
Yeah.
they didn't put it is a gunshot. They just put suicide. So people are thinking it is something else. Once they know it is a gunshot, then they got suspicion. So
They
they
didn't even
covered the
say anything.
news also some extent, directing to their advantage,
Right.
and it was a cover up. Yeah.
One more thing, what we researched and found out is, um, a week before this, Sam Altman had donated to someone in the police department, someone who puts the budget and all, and that guy was praising Sam Altman like anything in Twitter. These are not coincidences, and it's not a coincidence that the mayor of San Francisco is a good friend of Altman, and he went to the inauguration of the Stargate project, or the building data center, or something like that. Unfortunately, these people are very powerful, very rich. We can only
Yeah.
get support from parents and people like you, so we can get justice for our son. We couldn't protect him. I told him, but I couldn't do anything. I told him, talk to a lawyer. You should be safe. He did talk to a lawyer after I told him. And after I told him, he did start building network. He spoke to Gary Marcus, who's very good in AI. He spoke to Indy, who's also good in this, and a few other people. He was in touch, but they didn't give him any warning. They didn't give him any time at all. He just came back from vacation. Who would
Wow.
who would go out on a backpacking trip being so fit, come back, be happy, and then all of a sudden they shoot himself? Do you think so?
Order dinner.
Exactly. And we look at all the journal, right? There's nothing disturbing going on in his life. He was getting interest of $10,000 or $12,000 a month. He didn't even have financial limitations. And he had
Yeah.
strong plans of starting his own company. He told me on October 30th, it's a competition to OpenAI. I told him to be careful at that moment. Be careful.
It's also recent. I can't. It feels like I've known about this for a long time, but it's just so recent. It's crazy how recent it is.
This is not the only
Yeah.
trauma. I actually went through all the autopsy pictures and the crime scene pictures. There's so much blood coming out of his mouth. And I saw wounds on his body. I went through
I
all the autopsy pictures because I want to get justice to my son. I told him, no, I have seen. And every time I see a pregnant woman, there is tears in my eyes. Just like her, I put my son in my tummy, in my womb, and I brought him to this earth. And it does bring tears when I see any woman pregnant. I remember my time when I gave birth to Suchir and raised him with love. Seeing him lying like that in the blood is
I
so.
cannot imagine. I
Yeah.
cannot imagine. Let me just ask you straight up. So, do you believe that OpenAI killed your son?
We can't say for sure because he was against the entire AI industry, right? It could be AI mafia. AI is actually there are a lot of VCs investing heavily in AI, hoping for profit.
Yeah.
The investors, we don't know, right? We don't know who
Right.
it is until proven not guilty. That's my philosophy.
And so it is. So you do believe that the AI companies killed your son?
That's one likelihood or possibility. One possibility is OpenAI. We don't know other possibilities, right? He didn't have any other enemies. These
Yeah.
are possibilities.
And how about what he was going to testify about, what he was going to say in the New York Times lawsuit, and the information he had, the files he had? Did what he was going to deliver to that case die with him, or was he able to pass it on so it'll be useful?
We are still trying to find what he was going to testify. We found a pen drive, but that was corrupt. And also the worst thing is, when the police came, the computer was still on. No screen was not locked, and there was no password to enter. They were able to get in. How is it possible after 3 days? We
Wow.
want his computer and laptop to be sent to digital forensic. But unfortunately, what happened is we ran into some digital forensic people who were not very good. So we are holding on to it. We just don't want them to take advantage of us, and we were scared they'll sell it to the other party.
Wow. Sure. Wow. Um, so where do you all go from here? You continue to press, you continue, this is I assume this case is going to come to trial at some point, or the case is progressing.
It is progressing. What we know so far is why we don't believe this is a suicide is number one. There are wounds on the body, head injury, and
Yes.
corresponding to head injury, bleeding in the bathroom, blood spatters in the bathroom. There's a
Yes.
wound on the knee. How can this happen in a suicide case, right?
And the angle of the gun seems crazy,
Yeah.
right? It's like
Downward.
like a downward. Yeah, that makes no sense.
Someone standing up has made him sit down and shot him or something like that, right? Because he should be erect to go in that angle. He should not be lying down, right? He's
Yes.
probably sitting. They shot him, and and that shot is fatal. Instantaneous death because he touched the brain cell. We got a report from radiologist. It cuts the nervous system. Moment it cuts the nervous system, there's no pain. So it's painless death. But
At least there's that. As a father, that would give me a little bit of comfort, just the smallest bit.
you know
Yeah.
what? When the doctor was telling us all these things, please tell he was unconscious. That was my plea to them, right? And it's a likelihood. What we're looking for is for the answers for the very high level of alcohol found in his body. He was a social drinker. He was not a heavy drinker at all. He can't even assimilate that much drinks. And for someone who's not used to taking the drinks, it should be almost 2 bottles, right? They can't
Wow.
even stand up on their feet. They would not be eligible to drive. They won't have muscle coordination. Plus, the GHB date rape drug found in his body, the combination of alcohol and the date rape drug would make it lethal.
Wow. So and the toxicology reports show both of those things: high alcohol and GHB.
Yes, from the reports from OCME, Medical Examiner's Office, we are getting the evidences. And from the CT scan image, 3 radiologists so far have given that there is one more metal piece in the skull, which could potentially be a second bullet. We are waiting for that conclusion to come from another forensic pathologist we have hired. Unfortunately, one who did the autopsy was not expert in gunshot wounds. We have discussed the case with someone who has done 6,600 autopsies for the gunshot wounds and handled about
Yeah.
60, 70,000 homicides. And now one we are going to is highly reputed, honored by AMA, American Medical Association. We are
Yeah.
waiting for him to give us a conclusive report. By this Sunday, we are also waiting for the toxicologist report. And our CSI, crime scene investigator, he said he could conclude the blood spatter and spots in the bathroom are from the head injury. He sees some movement there. All of those things are not conclusive with the suicide. He himself tells that. But he has a lot of questions that he need to get answered for. So are we. How did the blood spatter outside the main pool happen? Right? And also,
Yep.
in the fatal shot from the body, we can see that he never moved. That moment he fell down, like it looks. Right?
Yeah.
If that's the case,
Yeah.
that means it's also demonstrated by there is no movement, there's no change in the blood spatter pattern.
Yeah. Couple questions. Have you done any research about suicide cases that have been changed, where they've gone and said, "Oh no, that was a homicide. That wasn't a suicide." How often does it happen? What's that process like?
Yeah, I'm reading a publication. He's done some research also that like what it is stage suicide is like. I'm just trying to write a letter about it, trying to conclude. First thing we have to do is we have to make list of why we believe it's not a suicide. We have to demonstrate that these things cannot happen in a suicide. We are at that phase now. Even our attorney tells it's not a suicide because of the angle. It's
Yeah.
very weird. And now that we saw the second metal piece in the brain, right? And also there
Yeah.
were hole in the tongue, and the edge of the trunks were like this. How does it happen? If he shot himself, where does it come from?
What would it mean to you if the medical examiner changed it and said, this is not a suicide, this was a homicide?
We don't want that outcome. You know why? If they do that, then it will go to San Francisco DA, who is under the mayor, and we may not expect justice. We would rather go for federal court.
That has to be, I mean, that is the thing they should have done, because they did a partial one to cover up things. They didn't do the full autopsy. That itself shows they want to avoid that type of report to come. So there is a cover up, as we know. If you take the actor recently died, that is Gene Hackman, they did the full autopsy within 10 days. They
released the report.
Stomach, everything they analyze, each part of his organs. They can do easily, but they don't want. In our case, they didn't do that.
They didn't even open the head because there was a bullet and a wound on the head, right? They didn't open the head. They didn't open the stomach to see when the death was. Maybe he didn't open because it was 3 days, but still, we learned from other forensic pathologists they should have done it. They didn't follow the protocol at all.
And do you have a feeling about when he actually died? Was it Saturday, Sunday, Monday?
Friday night or Saturday early
morning.
Yeah, Friday night or
because
Saturday.
he slept in his bed. His bed was ransacked. He hasn't unpacked his bag that he came from. His toothbrush and all, like the spare one, was still inside the box. He was brushing that night, it looked like, because his floss had fallen down.
Yeah.
And there is blood on the sink, blood on the door, blood on the handle.
Yeah, his browser history says 10 o'clock last.
10:18 was the last time he was on computer.
What does what happened lead you to believe the AI industry is capable of to defend itself?
We don't want to make any speculation or conspiracy theory here. All we know is we need a thorough investigation to get to the bottom of it. And we strongly urge FBI to get to the bottom of it, because he was not an ordinary individual. He was a genius. He produced a lot of results, and he was going to make an impact in many different ways. And his only standing up for the cause of humanity tells a lot about him. It's for such an individual, we should not leave him as suicidal death.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly. All right. So I've heard that you, Poornima, are doing some work in AI safety and interested in sort of carrying on some of what Suchir was doing. And
yes,
tell me about that.
Yeah,
right now we are
started one project, Suchir.ai, and it is about ethics, protection of whistleblowers. Those areas we are planning to do. Some activities on, collective consciousness we want to create, and also using AI, we want to analyze kind of medical related project he was about to start.
Right. That's on a different note. Coming back to AI safety, we are involved with few groups. We just submitted to Pause AI, and President's team had requested people to tell how to do the AI planning. For that, we contributed, and we are part of Stop AI as well. We did protest in front of OpenAI, who killed Suchir Balaji, and we are part of another group that's made of artists, and there is we support them. There is a bill AB 412 that just went into the judiciary committee last week. It made it successfully. Now we are hoping it will get passed. And in one of the meetings with the senator, they introduced us, not the senator staff actually, about the AI safety. They introduced us, and we requested to get a whistleblower protection, life protection for their life. And also we requested you make it Suchir Balaji Act. That is,
That's so
we
nice.
don't know, but trying.
Yeah. And do you feel connection to him when you're doing this work, carrying on the work that he was doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the only thing that binds us now. Fighting for a cause he was working for. I'm into cloud security actually. It's fairly easy for me to pick up and work for AI security and AI safety. Right now my brain doesn't work, but that's the future plan. And join this coalition. That was my thought to him, right? Join people who make the laws. Do some kind of lobbying to support his mission. And
Yeah.
if we get any document, we would not hesitate to go and submit it to the court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spiritually, Suchir is guiding us. He knows what happened to him, and he want to expose them. So we are working based on his insight, what he's giving spiritually. We are trying to prove that he's trying to see what justice can be brought about.
Sure.
Ultimately, outcome we want to see is let the court decide what's the court of action. I really want to hold people accountable. Let court decide what is the action for them, right? That's all we want. We don't want anything else. And there are attorneys who said, "Oh, we'll get you money." And first, the second attorney, we fired him because that's not our intent to file a civil lawsuit. And he
Wow.
came and started
Appreciate that.
coming
Yeah.
and telling us he'll talk to Sam Altman. Why does he need to talk to Sam Altman? We're not even interested, right? So that showed he's a Democrat. That attorney was a Democrat. He was a mayor before.
Okay.
That showed he had some political connection. We fired him.
Wow. Wow. Has anyone from OpenAI reached out to you at all throughout this entire process?
Oh, we're talking with their HR about 401k and other things. And Sam Altman he wants to talk to us. When we sent a notice through our attorney that, don't destroy any evidences or something like that, spoliation notice, their attorney responded to us saying that, "Oh, we are so sorry for the loss and all. Sam wants to talk to you." But we have been avoiding from the very first week. And the first week after the news came out, HR wanted to get us onto hush call on Zoom to talk about his talk. We are grieving. I said, "Look, this is of no interest for us. We have a probate attorney. Please tell her
Yeah.
what it is." 3 emails a day asking us, "We want to get you on Zoom call right away." I don't know.
Yeah. What would you say to Sam Altman if you were in the same room with him?
I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. I don't even want to encounter him because we know those people have power and money. They can be dangerous. I don't want to be a hypocrite saying we don't doubt you. At the same time, I don't want to say we don't know if you are the cause also and get myself into trouble. We need to be safe to get justice for Suchir. He was 26-year-old, but we have the maturity of life, right? We've done more than half of our life now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
What would it
want
mean to you to be able to have some sort of conclusion that is different than what this is? If what would it mean to you to
honestly, we
get what
believe
you're
we
seeking?
won't get any closure if we don't, he won't get any closure if we don't find a justice for him. Like we don't know if he's still around waiting for justice. A part of him is not complete until the justice is served. I'm sure if,
Mm.
despite of the religion, everybody understands that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And there are so many people I know that care about Suchir and what happened to him and are concerned for you and this whole story. How can people who are watching the show who care about this best support you?
That's something that we need to work on. We need to come up with a website next week. Our investigation has come to a decent stage now. It's about building awareness and taking action now. Now, we have couple more podcasts coming up, and someone is signing a contract for a documentary that will go on Netflix, Peacock, all of them. On the side, we also want to establish a website and tell people where to look for information, how they can support us.
Yes, a lot
We,
of people are giving voluntary hours also. One of the PI investigator, he is a retired person. He gave a insight into what to look for. Like recently, I published the camera site where Suchir is pressing the button. So he was saying to publish those things, and also he said interview people who are in that building, like janitor and those
people.
those people. They have more insights. They know what is going on around it. So those type of tips they are giving people also, how to look into that case to build up the evidence. The investigator gave voluntarily some tips like that. So we are getting a lot of insight through this type of public awareness. So they also give a 360 degree of what we have to do as ourselves. We are doing as an investigator, as parent, not only parents. We have become an investigator.
We've learned everything. We've learned to look into what are the research papers for toxicology, what are the research papers for state suicide, how do we present it. We are trying everything we can, but we have an attorney who's knowledgeable, who's supportive and sharp, but still there's more than what one attorney can do.
Yeah.
We-
Yeah. I'm just so sorry for what happened to Suchir. I think you all have so much to be proud of. What an incredible life he led in
Yes.
26 years, and what an impact he had on the world around him and the whole world, really. And I think that impact is only partly being felt right now and will continue to be felt into the future. So, I think you have so much to be proud of.
That's where we are now. Like, we moved beyond the loss and looking at him as a hero and celebrate his life and
He is.
give meaning to his passion that he had and bring it to life in any possible way.
Yes. Well, I wish you all of the best fortune as you proceed ahead and keep pushing. And I urge you to keep pushing for answers. And, please let me know if there's anything I can do to continue to support. And, there's a community of people out there who care a whole lot about this and believe you and want to see justice for your son.
We want more media coverage. If somebody could help us reach out to the news medias like CNBC,
Yeah.
CNN, ABC, if somebody knows
Yep.
them, now it's time to become a national news. It's
Absolutely.
time for it. We have enough sufficient evidence beyond conspiracy theory and beyond grieving parents. We have enough fact to put across. We're seeking answers.
Yes. Well, I hope this podcast and other ones like it will, continue to push this forward, and get to justice, because it sure feels like we are not there right now.
Yeah, unless we hit the major news media, we won't see much impact. We're contacting some communities and some organizations to see if we can organize some protest and all in the large numbers. In order to do so, we need to have our website and have people support us.
Yes. Well, when you get the website, please send it to me and I'll put it out to all the viewers and listeners. And, I'd be happy to continue to support you. And I wish you both the best as you continue to push forward in this really, really important work that you're doing.
Thank you.
What really, really great people. I really hope that they find justice for Suchir. What a grim, dark situation. The non-suicide possibilities raise very terrifying thoughts about what the AI industry could be capable of to defend the fruit of its rotten tree. Okay, my friends, it is 2025, and we do not know how much longer we have to be on this planet of Earth to enjoy this amazing life we have as humans. So we end every show with something we call the celebration of life, just something that makes us thrilled to be alive. Here is this week's edition.
I saw you leaving. Kept thinking I should have called, but you wouldn't see it. Oh no, no. I'm up way too late again, thinking about what you said and how maybe you were trying to stall. But I walked right into the fall, hoping you'd mean it. Oh, now we're too far down for closure. Yeah, no, can't you hear me? Now it's over. And if you're going, please, baby, when you forget about me, don't be so precious about it. Don't be so precious about it. 'Cause you save me, but I'll find a way around it. I'll find a way around it. Don't be so precious about it. I left my heart for the road, 'cause I didn't need it. She wanted my flesh and bones, and I let her keep it. Oh no, no, no. And I am the one to blame, but what's left of me has changed. There's nothing I would ever show you. Nobody knows what she knows, and I got some secrets. Oh, now we're too far down for closure. Yeah, yeah, no, can't you hear me? Now it's over. And if you're going, please, baby, when you forget about me, don't be so precious about it. Don't be so precious about it. 'Cause you save me, but I'll find a way around it. I'll find a way around it. Don't be so precious about it. And baby, when you forget about me, don't be so precious about it. Don't be so precious about it. 'Cause you save me, but I'll find a way around it. I'll find a way around it. Don't be so precious about it. We're holding on to nothing, nothing. I've always been good at running, running. It's okay if I'm the one you're done with, that you're done with. But if you're going, please, baby, when you forget about me, don't be so precious about it. Don't be so precious about it. 'Cause you save me, but I'll find a way around it. I'll find a way around it. Don't be so precious about it. And baby, when you forget about me, don't be so precious about it. Don't be so precious about it. 'Cause you save me, but I'll find a way around it. I'll find a way around it. Don't be so precious about it.
All right, my friends, please remember, AI risk is not someone else's problem. It is yours, and it is mine. And in 2025, we're going to help every human on Earth understand that it is their biggest problem, too. This is the year humanity wakes up to the realities of AI risk. We will not allow 2,000 people to wipe the other 8 billion of us off the face of the Earth. No fucking way. For Humanity, I'm John Sherman. I'll see you tomorrow on YouTube Shorts.